Hey, everybody. Good morning. Saturday morning. This is day 6 of my 31-day commitment to coaching. I told you guys I would come every single day, but I never promised you what time I would come every single day. And look who I've got here today, Renée Bangelsdorf. Woo!
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that you had me show up in my pajamas after just one cup of coffee.
I know. It's because I am committed to authenticity. You guys, I trained on authenticity a couple of days ago. So we're literally, y'all, here in our pajamas having these great talks where we're crying, talking about stuff that matters. Like everybody needs a best friend like Renée. And if you don't have one, go find one.
I mean, write a book with one.
Yes,
like,
write a book with one.
everything.
Everything about it. So this was the book we wrote in 2016, Crushing Mediocrity. And I want everybody to know these are actually Renée's feet, shoes, legs on this, because tell the story about did we either check it out through Louboutin or we did research. And the only way we could put Louboutins on the cover was if we bought them.
We just wanted to make sure we weren't getting sued by Louboutin. And I'm like, well, if it's my shoes that I paid for and my feet, then we're good, right? So,
yep. So if you guys have our book, have read our book, or want to read our book, those are Renée's legs, Renée's shoes. And then we're laughing earlier. We're like, look how young we were back then. We wanted to take the back cover sitting on the wing of an airplane, and how far we've come since then, because you're now a pilot.
Yes.
So, and I think back when we wrote the book, you weren't talking about being a pilot. Like,
no.
And so the thing we're going to talk about today, before we start reminiscing, the thing we're going to talk about today is, and Renée brought it up, I'm like, we're getting online right now and I'm doing my training, is what happens if you're 1 degree off. If you're 1 degree off in your thinking, in your beliefs, in your business strategy, in your execution, what happens? So Miss Pilot, tell us what happens if you're 1 degree off. Just tell me what you told me today earlier.
Yeah. So there are 360 degrees in a circle. And when you're flying, you'll fly at a specific radial. So you'll fly, like if your heading is 360, that's straight north, right? But if you're going from the East Coast, Washington, D.C., to the West Coast, San Francisco, and you are 1 degree off when you take off, which is not very much, you end up 42 miles off course when you land. So if you get distracted just a little bit and you don't come back to your true north, and you don't correct your heading on a regular basis, you're not checking in and correcting and making sure that you're exactly on the right course, then you can end up in Santa Cruz instead of San Francisco. And
I'd rather be in Santa Cruz than San Francisco, just for the record. I grew up in the Bay Area, so I get to say that. But
that's why I used that example.
Yeah, I know. You're like, what's 42 miles from, before we got on this, what's 42 miles from San Francisco? I'm like, Santa Cruz.
Yeah, I didn't fact check that, by the way. So
it's close. Well, you guys know me. It's close, right?
It's good for illustration purposes.
Exactly. Most of my stuff is usually good for illustration purposes. Not always fact checked all the way, but yeah, we know the deal. So how does that equate to life and business from your perspective?
So I think one of the things that's really important, and I'm getting my instrument license for my airplane, which means that I can fly in clouds. I can't see outside. I'm just looking at the screens in front of me and knowing that I'm on track, that I'm at the correct altitude. And so I have to really trust my instruments. And so one of the important things that I talk about, and we've talked about this before in business, is you have to have some check-ins. So check-ins look like having people that you check in with. And that's exactly what we were doing this morning. That's why we ended up crying, right? Because we were both checking in on, like, what's the big important thing going on in your life right now, and in what you're doing, and in who you're talking to. Like, what's the check-in there? So you have people that you check in with. Like when I'm flying, that's air traffic control. Like they'll tell me if I'm off track, right? Just like you'll tell me if I'm off track, and I'll tell you if you're off track. And then your instruments will tell you. So, that might look like financial statements. That might look like, if you're a believer, that might look like you're checking your truth against the Bible's truth, right? That's our true north, right? I don't have wavering truth. Like, my truth isn't what I believe. My truth is what God says. And so, I check in on that. Like, does what I'm thinking right now line up with what the Bible says? And, I got to be honest with myself about that sometimes. And, we talked about that this morning. Sometimes that's painful.
Very painful.
And sometimes I have to make a course correction in my life and in my flying. Like winds can blow you off course. You can get distracted and be a little bit off course. Your autopilot might not be working correctly. Like you've got to check in and make sure that the things that you're doing are taking you where you want to go.
But what's crazy, like the 1 degree, like the 1 degree, the minor shift in your thinking, your beliefs, your business plan, your strategy. If you go off 1 degree, you end up in Santa Cruz. You're not in San Francisco. You're in Santa Cruz. And then what does that do to your business? What does that do to your life? I have been off 10 degrees in my life before. I've been off 100 degrees in my life before. And it's mayhem. It's absolute mayhem. But I've never taken it down to the point where you said it to me today. And I'm like, we're getting on live right now. This is going to be my training. Is the 1 degree. And we all get off 1 degree.
Of course we do. That's why.
So how do you go back? Let me ask you this. If you're in the air and you're off 1 degree and you're like, ugh. First of all, if you're in the air, how do you know you're off 1 degree? Do you know?
Yeah. I have an instrument that will tell me.
Okay. So
it's a heading indicator.
Okay. So let's say, so is it possible to get off 1 degree then if you're following your instrument? Mm-hmm. So what do you do to course correct? What would you tell people to do to course correct today?
I make a little turn.
Okay.
Like all I have to do, like I'll use my rudder pedal and make a little turn. I'll use my ailerons and make a little turn and I'll correct. And sometimes it's the wind, like I'm making a wind correction, right? To correct 1 degree or 5 degrees because the wind at altitude is coming from a different direction.
Okay.
So the winds of change in political environments or economic environments or our family, right, can blow us a little bit off course and we just pay attention and we
talk to everybody about your wind of change in 2025. Now, guys, understand, like there's nothing I ever go into in life that I don't try to pull Renee in with me. Just know that. She's like, I have pulled her into so much stuff that
you've gotten me in some trouble.
I've got her into some trouble. But when I got into real estate, like the second day, I was like, you have to go into real estate with me. She's like, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. I'm like, you have to go into real estate with me.
I sell jets. Why would I want to sell houses?
Yes, because it's like houses are for peasants. I sell jets. I think used those words at one point. And you still sell jets.
I do.
Yes. And now you have carved out this niche because like sometimes guys, like, if this is my team and you're watching this, sometimes you just have to stay on people, right? When you have Renee's Rolodex, I'm like, all those people who have jets don't live in them. Okay. They have to have a house to live in. So finally, I talked you into getting your real estate license after 4 years or 4.5 years.
Yes.
So what does that look like for you now? And how did you incorporate that into your jet business?
So, this is, Lisa can talk me into anything. Wait, Lisa can talk me into anything. Be careful what she talks you into. But I went through a big shift in my life. I moved, I went through a divorce and I'm like, you know what, who do I want the new me to be? Like, I love connecting with people. I love being a part of people's lives. And
this is why she made my book, by the way, guys.
And that's just so important to me. Like, I want to impact people. I want to be able to speak into the lives and encourage some of the most influential and wealthy people in the world. And I've always wanted to do that. And so being able to do that still and have a new challenge. I mean, this is going to sound snobby and I don't mean it to sound like that, but I rose to the top of aircraft sales and like I had climbed that mountain and I wanted something new to learn and something new to be challenged in. It's why I got my pilot's license. And then I wanted something new to like, I got addicted to learning and changing and growing. And so real estate was my next thing.
It was the last frontier. She had done everything else because you went back as an adult and finished your college degree. Hence the book, Crushing Mediocrity. I actually tell that story in the new book, so you have to buy it. So we're not going to tell it to you today. But so since I've known you, you went back and you got your college degree because you wanted to. Then you ended up on the board of that university.
Yep.
Then you got your pilot's license. Then you got a divorce.
Yep.
Then you started your aviation collective, so your consulting and coaching business, and that was kind of before that. Then you got your real estate license. Then you go from there.
Yeah. So I'm working on my instrument license
Yep.
for my airplane so that I can fly in the clouds and stay on heading even when I can't see outside. And now I am doing aviation real estate. So hangars, hangar homes. I have a listing appointment this week and I'm like, okay, when can I do the listing appointment? And I'm checking the weather, like where I live and where this listing is, which is a couple of 100 miles away. And I'm like, okay, I can do the listing appointment on Thursday because weather's good where I live, weather's good where he lives.
So she can fly in.
And I can fly in and do my listing appointment. And so it's incorporating all the things that I'm doing. So, and this is a course correction for me because Lisa challenged me with, okay, what's the new Renee? Like what's Renee, 3.0 here or whatever version I am on myself.
Which is the best version of you, by the way.
Thank you. But Lisa is one of those people in my lives that's my air traffic control. Like she'll call me, she'll be like, you're not on track right now. Like, what are you doing? And she'll say it just like that. Like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? And like, you need to do this. And that exact same thing that air traffic control does. So air traffic control will be like, can you turn 10 degrees left?
So air traffic control is that? I have no idea. So they are that. So they're watching you that hard?
Yes.
Oh.
And when I'm flying in very congested airspace like DFW, which is where I fly, there's certain levels of airspace that you have to be talking to air traffic control in when you're close to an airport, and they have the right to tell you what to do and where to fly if you're flying in their airspace so that you're not getting in the way of American Airlines 747
coming in.
Right.
Yeah. Oh.
So they're directing everybody going. So it's not the voice of God, but and I can tell them like, hey, I'm unable to do that. And then they'll figure out something else. So Lisa can tell me, hey, I think you should be doing this. And I can be like, yeah, I can do that.
And she literally told me 4.5 years ago, and I said, you need to get your real estate license. We're going to go do this. And she's like, that isn't what God's telling me to do. I'm like, but I'm telling you to do it. But guess what? I got trumped by God 4.5 years ago. Imagine that.
You were just the warm up. You were warming up. Like, you know me, I have to warm up to ideas for a while.
Guys, when I say warm, Renee is like, I wish you guys could have seen our English muffins this morning. I made us each an English muffin. She's the slowest eater on the planet, always has been. I can talk, eat, like, let's get on this.
I still haven't finished it.
I had mine finished and she had taken 2 bites of the first one. And it's so funny because what did they say about you and I? What did Ellie say about you and I when we wrote the book? You're the sharpshooter, I'm the gunslinger.
Yeah. I'm a sniper and she's a gunslinger.
Right. So that's okay. Like, you need everybody in your life. And if you're out there and you follow me and you're part of my community, I'm a gunslinger. Like, I'm like this, let's go. But everybody needs a sniper in their life.
And vice versa.
Yeah. To slow you down. Because today on some big projects I'm working on, like, she was like, no, this is your perspective. This needs to be your perspective. This, and this. That's a sniper approach. Okay. The gunslinging Lisa is like, well, if it just doesn't line up exactly like this, I'm out. But then when you go to something with a sniper, it's like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to be.
What's the strategic move here? Lisa's like, let's lay cover. And I'm like, okay, what's the strategic move here? So we have always complimented each other in that.
But when we had a writing coach on this book, and she kind of helped us lay out the book and what do you do when you're the number one car dealer in the world and the number one female jet broker in the world? And we're going to write a book. Well, okay, well, great. We're going to write a book. But what are we going to write this book about? And that's where our writing coach came in. And we whiteboarded, we spent hours, I remember, in this room, and she's just like, I'm like, what do we write about? Like, we're gonna write about sales, we're gonna write about being a woman, like, whatever. And that's how we came up with Crushing Mediocrity, because we decided that why did other people in our respective industries fail? And it's because they were mediocre. They weren't willing to do the work. They weren't willing to put themselves out there. And God, I mean, like 10 years later, is that still not the truth?
It's the truth.
We see it. You see it in aviation. And your side of real estate. I see it in real estate. I see it everywhere. People aren't willing to do the work. They just want to show up and get paid. They want to show up and get paid. And so, guys, you've heard me beat the drum all week on this thing. So last Sunday we crossed 1 billion. Yay. The stretch goal is 1.2 billion, right? And that is going to be hard. It's a stretch goal. But without a strategy, and it hit me today when she said that, or if you're 1 degree off, you're not going to hit your goal. But you can course correct. So I'm here as your air traffic control operator to tell you that you can course correct anytime during that flight between, was it Texas and California or New York? DC and California. Okay, you can course correct at any time, and that doesn't mean you failed.
Right.
It just means you're shifting 1 degree here, 1 degree there. And so you got to look at your business strategy. You've got to look at what you're doing. And if you feel like you're failing or you feel like you're off course, no, it could just be a 1 degree shift.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about having good friends, having peer mentors, having actual mentors, is that, your strengths complement each other, and you can ask someone who's going in the direction that you want to be going and maybe is a little bit ahead of you. Okay. If looking back, how would you course correct? Mm-hmm. And so it's a lot easier to course correct when you're 1 degree off or 10 degrees off than when you're, 120 degrees off, right?
So what would you tell somebody right now who's watching this and they're like, I am so off course, whether it's in life or in business or in their faith or whatever. And they're like, okay, ladies, I'm 122. I mean, do I give up? Do I crash the plane? What do I do to get back on course?
Yeah. So you have to do this when you're getting your pilot's license, you have to do lost procedures. So
we did not rehearse this. It's so good.
I'll be what's called under the hood. Like basically I'm blindfolded from here up so I can only see my instruments. And the pilot examiner will take the controls of the airplane, get me off my heading, get me off my altitude, get my plane pointed nose down or nose up. And then I take off the goggles and I have to get myself back on track. And there's a formula for that we memorize so that when it happens to you, you automatically go into this flow. And it's called aviate, navigate, communicate. And so when you aviate, you're looking at what's true. And this is what you do in life. Like, what's true? What do I know? You write your plane. So like, I'm going to get my plane back straight and level. And then I'm going to figure out which direction I need to go. And I'm going to be going in that direction. Because if you're nose up in an airplane and you have full power, like eventually, like your airplane's going to go because it's not going to be aerodynamic anymore. Or if you're nose down, you're picking up speed and you're headed really fast toward the ground. You've got to right the plane. So right the plane, get clear on what the truth is. What do I know to be true? I have sales skills. I have contacts in aviation. I have friends who will help mentor me. Lisa signed me up for EXP and I immediately jumped into luxury because I knew that was the right decision for me. I've done luxury sales for a while. So what do I know is true? And then the next thing you do is navigate. Okay, I'm a little bit off course. What do I need to do to course correct here? And we strategized about some business decisions that I need to make this morning. She helped me know, like, hey, you're 10 degrees off here. Like, you need to do this in the meantime or fly this direction for a while to make up for this wind blowing me off course. And then the next thing you do is communicate. So you aviate, you get clear on the truth, you navigate, you figure out which direction you need to be going, and then you communicate. Then I'm telling air traffic control, hey, I got a little off course here, I'm flying this direction, and they'll communicate back with you. But you've got to right the ship first. Get clear on what the truth is. Then figure out which direction you want to be going. Then communicate. You're communicating, like I'm communicating with Lisa. I'm communicating with my mentor in Fort Worth. I'm communicating with my aviation real estate mentor in Florida, and we're course correcting me a little bit. We're communicating. We're all coming together for a plan. So that's what I would do if I was a little bit off course.
It's so valuable. guys. It's so valuable. And I hope that, you know, we're kind of at the end of this now. I told you guys 15, 20 minutes. I always go over, but I hope that that was helpful to you today, because we're coming to the end of the year. I told y'all I don't believe in New Year's resolutions. And I've said course correct. Like, I don't need to wait till January 1 if I know something I'm doing is not right. I need to fix it right now.
Yeah.
Just like you do in an airplane. You know, if you're flying like Renee and you don't course correct immediately, you're going to crash. But I feel like that in life and in business too. If you know something's not right, you can't wait. You've got to immediately. And I love what you said, and this is true, and I'll leave with this, is that you know what's right. Whether it's a life decision you're making, whether it's a business decision you're making, whatever it is. In your core, you know what's right. You know what the right thing to do is. You just need to do it, and you need to trust yourself. And right might not always be popular. Right might not always be the world's view of something. Right might not always, just that. But you know, fundamentally in your soul, what you need to do. And that's what I would tell you to do on course correction. That's what I would tell you to do if today you feel like even if you're just 1 degree off, to course correct. Thank you for coming on. I love you. And anyways, I will see you guys and gals again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.